I hurt my girlfriend's trust. How do I rebuild it? Story 1. I have been dating my girlfriend for a while, and I did something really bad to break her trust. Before we started dating, I had liked another girl for about a year, but it ended long before my current relationship. I stayed friends with that girl after that, even while I was dating my girlfriend. I told my girlfriend about that talking stage, but never told her who exactly that was. By the time the new school year was starting, my friend told me that she had no one to sit with at lunch, seemingly asking me if she could sit with me. I said yes. Me, my girlfriend, and the girl started sitting together at lunch, though I'd mostly only talked to my girlfriend. I told my girlfriend about it after 2.5 weeks, and she was really hurt by the information. The reason I had for not telling her sooner was because I felt embarrassed for having liked that girl before, for very superficial reasons. My girlfriend told me that I had broken her trust, which was very strong until now, though she said she could see me getting it back over time. Yet, she'd always be second-guessing the things I say, which to me sounds like I'd never be able to fully rebuild our trust. Additionally, that previous girl made a joke to me once, saying, "I hope your girlfriend breaks up with you," after I had made fun of her, and I told this to my girlfriend, and she got even more hurt for me keeping her as a friend after she joked about something like that. I've completely cut off the previous girl, and I feel dirty for what I did, especially since I didn't care about that girl much, which was made evident to me by me not feeling any hesitation from cutting her off completely. Yet, I still put her feelings in front of my girlfriend's. I feel lost on getting my girlfriend's trust back, and I need help. Story 2. I was best friends with a neighbor kid growing up. He was always over at my house, or I was at his, and I had a major crush on him, pretty much since I was old enough to walk. But it never seemed like he liked me back, or that he even noticed that I liked him. So we grew up. He started dating people, and I was jealous as fuck over it. I started dating people while still pining over him. I figure he just sees me as a little kid. I was a year younger than him, or a little sister, and nothing will ever come out of it, so I try to put my feelings aside. Then, when he turned 16, his family moved out of state, and we lost contact. I got over my feelings, and time moved on. Fast forward a few years later, and we reconnect online, start talking, and then this dude casually mentions in a conversation about how he had a giant crush on me growing up and always wanted to ask me out. He tells me that he even asked my mother for permission to ask me out, and she said no, so he never ended up doing it. My mom never told me about this at all. My mind is blown. My entire childhood of pining after this guy, my first ever crush, feels like a lie. At this point, I'd long since put aside the feelings I had for him and kinda gotten over the crush. But I still felt a lot of residual nostalgia from being 15 and craving dick for the first time in my life. He was still into me, and I was debating whether I wanted to start something with him or not, mostly so I wouldn't have to live with the what if of it all, tossing the idea around while we kept in touch. Then suddenly, he stops messaging me. I'm like, because our talking was going well, and I didn't think I did anything to make him want to start ghosting me. I message a mutual friend of ours and ask if she knows what's up, and she tells me the guy was arrested for beating a dude who owed him money to death. He's in prison right now, serving a life sentence. I never got that dick. The end. Story 3. They say the walls have ears. But what if those walls whispered secrets that tore apart the very fabric of a relationship? What if the truth lurking in the shadows was more devastating than anyone could have ever imagined? It started with a feeling, a sense of unease that crept into my heart, like a shadow in the night. My partner, Emma, had been acting strange lately, her smiles masking a distant gaze that seemed to pierce through me with a haunting intensity. One fateful night, as I lay in bed, restless with worry, I heard it, a soft murmur echoing through the walls of our home. At first, I dismissed it as a trick of the wind, but as the whispers grew louder, I realized they were words filled with deceit and betrayal. I followed the whispers, tracing their source to the walls of our bedroom, where a hidden passage revealed itself to me like a gaping wound in our once perfect life. Inside, I found a room shrouded in darkness, the walls lined with photographs of Emma and a mysterious figure, their faces locked in embraces that spoke of a forbidden love. As I gazed upon the images, a chilling realization dawned upon me. Emma had been leading a double life, entwined with a stranger who lurked in the shadows, feeding her lies and manipulations that tore us apart from within. The whispers grew louder, taunting me with the truth I never wanted to hear. Driven by a mix of anger and sorrow, I confronted Emma, demanding answers to questions that burned like fire on my lips. But her denials fell flat, her eyes avoiding mine as she struggled to explain the unexplainable, caught in a web of deceit that threatened to consume us both. In a moment of clarity, I understood the depth of her betrayal, the echoes of her lies reverberating through the walls of our home like a haunting melody of heartbreak and loss. And as I turned away, shattered and broken, I knew that some wounds could never truly heal, no matter how hard we tried to mend them. Now, as I stand alone in the silence of our abandoned home, I wonder if the whispers will ever cease, if the ghosts of our past will ever find peace. And in the darkness that surrounds me, I hear a voice that echoes with the pain of a love lost to the shadows, a love that may never find redemption in the light of day. Story 4. I was staying the night at my mom's boss's house with my brothers. They were like a second family to us, for those wondering, and we woke up in the middle of the night to find one of her adopted kids being stolen in the middle of the night by the drunk, abusive former father of the girl. She, the boss, told us, me and my brothers, to go hide in the guest room with the door locked, so we did. Mind you, the only people out in the main part of the house were the ex-father, the boss, her oldest son, who was 14 then, and the adopted child. After we were in the room, we could only hear what was happening from there, as it was happening right outside of our door. The man tried to attack my mother's boss, in which her 14-year-old son tried to push him back. He was severely drunk, so he wasn't very sturdy in his top area and ended up falling back. He tried to escape out of the door before anything escalated, and when the kid tried to throw a punch at him so he could keep him down while the cops arrived, the man slammed the door on his fist, which had a glass window on it. Unfortunately, this caused the glass to shatter, and the kid suffered some pretty nasty wounds, allowing him to get away, and by away I mean into a ditch at the end of the street while the cops arrived. He was arrested and charged with some stuff. I don't exactly remember due to me being younger then. The dad unfortunately died about 5 months after the event, and for those of you wondering how the 14-year-old is now, he's great. He has a kid and everything. He's about 20 now. I say unfortunately for the father because he was severely mentally ill and died due to complications with his alcohol abuse. The father was really fond of his daughter because she was all he had left after the girl's mother passed away due to cancer, which started his addiction and ultimately led to him losing his daughter and his life. For those of you wondering how I got such a detailed description out of just hearing stuff, I asked my mother's boss the other day about it, because after that day, we kinda just moved on. Story 5. When I was around 13-14, I had a friend who told me all sorts of odd stories about herself and others. They were very random. Some were about her getting boyfriends, which I didn't care too much about. Some were more serious, though. For example, she told everyone a girl in our class, whose family was struggling financially, stole from H&M. She made it seem completely believable. The worst, though, was when she claimed our older male history teacher followed her to volleyball practice and took pictures of her. Everything turned out to be a lie. Thank God the principal didn't believe the story about the history teacher. It could have costed him his job. This girl fabricated her whole life, and everything she ever told me was a lie. I still can't comprehend how someone at that age can do such horrible things.